It's advisable not to talk about things that is not related to teaching in a monastery.
꼭 빙하전 중들처럼 돼. 쓸데없는 그냥 말은 입은 딱 다물고 여기서는 절에서는 될 수 있으면 입 다물고.
It's better to reduce the amount of your speech, but better to act.
안 그래도 세속에서 아주 쓸데없는 얘기를
Also, especially also because you speak about other things, everyday life, and also other things that's not related to teaching during your daily life. So most of them are also not true, and most of them are also something not related to Buddha's law. So it's better not to say anything else other than saint's speech in a temple.
뜨고서 이렇게 살펴봐도 다 그냥 서로 눈치만 이렇게 봐도 내가 조금
So even if you just look at the other person's eye, maybe you understand the requirement of moving aside, giving them a seat. When I was practicing silence, I felt very comfortable. There's nothing more comfortable than not not speaking at all.
것이나 욕심이 또는 분노심 이런 게 많이 사라지고 나면 이게 그냥
When all of your greed disappears, then no matter how much you speak, it doesn't cause any quarrel. Like Buddha, after he obtained enlightenment, even if he spoke for 45 years, he never got into any quarrel. But for us, even if we speak only for an hour, we might get into quarrel. So if you come to monastery, if you are here, at least a time when you are here, please do not use any speeches for directions, but I hope you will be able to understand each other just by looking at them, their eyes. Those kind of things will cause a lot of discomfort between us. So you know what they want if you look at them in their eyes, right? Especially in Tibet, when Dalai Lama was preaching Kala Chakra, then at least like 50,000 people in Bodh Gaya caused a lot of stir. They don't stay in a house like us under a roof, but they are all out in the ground, and even if they are in the place where it's full of dust, it doesn't cause any problem. It's very silent, and no havoc is being caused at all. Even if 100,000 people move around,
회교도들 같은 경우는 라마단 기간에 성지순례하고 거기에 그 마호메트가 묻혀 있는 묘에 이제 참배들을 와가지고 수백만이 몰리면 그 안에서
as with Muslims, during the Ramadan period, when they come to the grave of Muhammad, then when there is something like 100,000 people gather around, there are a lot of people who died due to stampede. There is very ignorant act. So here, even if you do not speak, they will be able to understand. You should do your prayers, and you should just talk to each other only with the eye.
Please
open your book.
인터넷으로 지금 중계를 보는 사람들은 오늘 초하루고 또 이제 그 초제 그 관용이 있어서 조금 이제 늦어졌으니까.
Those people who are watching the broadcasting through internet, please do understand that today's teaching is a bit late. That's due to the fact that today is the first day of the lunar calendar, the first month of the lunar calendar, and also we also had the ancestor rites. But at this time, something like this, I hope you can send some SMS letting them know of the delay. As with today's teaching, I think since it's a teaching, it's advisable for all of you to listen, even those who does not attend Tuesday teaching regularly.
이제 앞에 그 저번 시간에 중요한 것을 내가 하나 정리를 해드렸죠, 그죠? 가피라는 거
Today,
정리를 해드렸죠.
last time I gave you clear idea of what important thing called blessing. In Korea, we do have a huge misunderstanding on the word called blessing, and I think I clarified that with you.
스승에게 가피를 입다, 부처님에게 가피를 입었다.
The word called blessing. When we say you have been blessed by your teacher or you have been blessed by Buddha, that means you do understand the result and the cause of your action. And
그런 것을 잘 몰랐는데 술을 먹으면 안 된다라는 것을 잘 몰랐는데.
Before, for example, before you did know the cause and the result of the alcohol, but now after listening to Buddha, you did understand the importance of not drinking. So there is change in my heart, and so I quit drinking. And when I did so, the accident that's caused by drinking is not being caused. So there was no drink and drive. There was no mistakes caused due to drinking. And also there is no disease caused by drinking. So all the things, all the change of heart, I became comfortable. Just with the action of change, just one single action of not drinking has caused so many different actions. Those actions, or like the wish to change or change in heart, is the blessing of Buddha. At times we do have a huge misunderstanding. Sometimes we say, once I was driving, but I met an accident, but due to Buddha's blessing, I was less hurt. But if you say it in other way, if there's something like that blessing, then Buddha should have prevented you from accident occurring.
그래서 이제 이제 석전사는 이제 그렇게 오는 사람이 없지만.
Okay, and also in Seokjunsa, people do not come for that purpose, but at some times they say, I bought a new car, so please do prayer for me. I don't do it that, but sometimes when the person feels too disappointed, so I just do a little prayer for him. But if there was a chance of no accident occurring due to my prayer, then I would have called all the cars that is in Korea and pray for their wellness. Like at least 10,000 people die every year due to car accidents. It's more dangerous than tsunami, and due to those car accidents, a lot of physically disabled or physically challenged people occur as much as the other citizens. And if due to my prayers, all these accidents can be prevented, due to Buddha's blessing, then I will keep all my work aside
교통사고만 안 나게 해도 1년에 10,000명씩을 건지는 거잖아. 그죠?
and just pray that at least in an year I save at least 10,000 people.
회교인이나 카톨릭인이나 물론
But everyone of different religion, be it Catholic, Christian, Muslim,
믿는 사람 다 똑같이
Protestant, everyone who believe in a religion,
놓고서 분석을 해보면
the percentage of actions occurring is the same. Even those people who pray so much, or even those people who comes to temple religiously, is the same. So all the prayers here is scientifically proven that there is no
담배를 안 피워야 폐암이 안 걸릴 건데.
there is no miracle beside.
피우면서 기도를 했는데 폐암이 걸렸습니다.
Like for example, you should not be smoking, but even if you are smoking and you pray for
피우지 말라는 것을 가르쳐서
no chance of lung cancer from occurring, then
문제가 된
Buddha will not know how to solve the problem because you are already
가피가 되는 거야.
in a trap of causing the cause for the lung cancer.
아이고 전에 어떤 그 영감쟁이가 그래 어떤 처사님이 한번 오셔가지고
Once a man came and told me,
새벽 기도도 다니고 가끔 가다 뭐
because my wife comes to Seokcheon Temple religiously,
하고 오는 바람에 내가 승진을 했습니다. 그거고 승진도
I got promoted, but that has got nothing to do with your promotion.
그거 승진도 상관없습니다.
That has got nothing to do with your promotion.
가필은 일단
So what is a blessing?
성취자들의 말씀을 일단 듣고 내가 마음에
Blessing is first listen to all the saints and Buddha's speeches, and if there is a cause in the change of heart, that is the first step. So it all begins with your wish or your decision to change your heart. If there is only greed in our heart, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that comes to your mind is the sense of greed, right? Isn't it? You wake up every morning and you ask yourself, how much will I earn today? So if you're sitting the whole day in the shop, then at times there are cases when some people and when the passers walking by seem like money to you, like the person is worth $30, the person is worth $50. In the end, you feel like you're a fortune reader, just because you keep looking at them in that way. You understand them, what's your worth. Like maybe the person is worth one pizza or two pizzas. The moment you wake up, you have the feeling of greed with you, and even when you come to temple, you wish that, oh, I have a prayer, and at least Buddha, can you at least listen to my prayer? But who will listen to your prayer? They say if you go somewhere, some religious place, then they at least listen to one of your prayers. But where? So last time I told them to do a science experiment. If there is 82-year-old grandmother, if she wishes for a baby, can she have it?
소원을 진짜 들어주면 이제 어떤 소원이 들었냐면 그만 아들이 이혼을 해가지고 애를 하나 손주를 데려다 줄지도 몰라.
If all the prayers, if something like that comes true, then even if just in case, even if your son is divorced, the son might come with a baby. Is that what you want? So you should know how to be satisfied. Just pray that how much ever you have done, how much ever virtue that you have made, you'll be getting it back. Even if you have that kind of feeling inside of you, then you will have no grudges.
내가 10원짜리를
But if you do not do any virtuous act,
20원을 받으려 그러면 10원은
like for example, if you if you have done the deed, a good deed worth $1, but if you expect for $2,
못 가져.
then you cannot have it unless you do robbery or unless you cheat someone else, and eventually you will have to pay it back. So what is a blessing?
그래서 내가 그래서 달라이라마의 가피를 입었다고 그래. 달라이라마의 가피를 갖다 아이고 내가
Some say they have been blessed by Dalai Lama.
아주 기분이 좋고 좋아서 저거 가피를 입었어.
Some people say, oh, I'm very happy that I went to meet Dalai Lama and get blessing. But my shop, that doesn't work.
뭐라 그러시냐면
I asked him, so how do you give blessing? I asked Dalai Lama once. But Dalai Lama said, even if I give them blessing, it didn't really work. Like, all I can do is pray for them. And once Dalai Lama told me this in Delhi, like, if I can give all the blessings, if everything happens with my prayers, then I would have prayed for Tibet's independence, wouldn't it?
소원을 성취해주고 이런 사람 같으면 자기가 기도해서 뭘 했겠어?
Yes, that's true. If Dalai Lama could make everything come true with his prayers, then he would have wished for Tibet's independence, right? So this thing called blessing cannot be achieved if you do not listen to your teacher's prayers or speeches. Blessing is a change from your own part. That's blessing.
또 내가 이 얘기를 하니까 뭐라 하냐면 스님 자꾸 뭐 가피가 있는 것 같고 요상하게 불상도 크게
If I say this, then some might say, oh, blessing is something very materialistic, so make a big Buddha statue or make big statue of Avalokita. And also give a lot of huge donations.
빨간색 노란색 살이 다 갖다 놓고 살이라고 사기치고 앉았고 그래서 뭐 가피를 받아오라고 뭔 가피를 어떻게 받아?
What kind of blessing can you get out of all that? If there's no change from self, then there's no blessing from any other source. It's almost like this. You plant bean, but if there's no condition of warm soil and warm water, then there will be no sprout. But if you just look at it, then there's no the bean sprout might seem very strange, right? But it's actually called blessing. That is actually blessing for the bean to grow. So what is a blessing? It is something that you listen to Buddha's teachings and your heart changes slowly, gradually, and good virtuous acts or good deeds come back to you. That is called blessing. You understand, right? Other than that, there is no other blessing. Especially if you go somewhere, then Buddha heals your disease. But throughout the history, there's no sutras or scriptures written about Buddha healing someone's disease. Even this person called Milarepa, his disciple came and he was very ill, and so Milarepa asked him to go to hospital to recover. Milarepa was very. I couldn't bear it from 3,500 above meters sea level. But Milarepa could withstand everything without even fire on the at a height that's 5,000 meters above sea level. He just wore some jute clothes and he bore everything. And even when it snows, the snow covers all your body.
그 정도 다 돼 있는 그 사람은 다니면서 히말라야 5,000고지 티베트 저 인도로
He could move around 5,000 meters above sea level, just like it's his neighborhood, or all the ranges on the Himalaya, throughout Tibet, India. But he was that kind of person who could withstand everything. But even for his disciple, when he was sick, he asked him to go to hospital.
그렇게 뭐 어디 절집에서 그렇게 해서 병을 놔순다 그러면 그 방법을 잘 개발해서 전국의 병원을 싹 없애고 뭐 의료보험이고 뭐고 하나도 안 내도 좋잖아 그죠? 전 세계에서 그런 사람이 있다 그러면
It would be a miracle if there's someone like him in the world, someone who could cure everyone's disease.
해가지고 이게 썩 크면 뭐 그 아픈 부위를 갖다 창자 속에서 탁 떼내서 여기에 떨어져 나오고 곧다운 짓을 내면 그건 순 사기꾼이야.
Those false beliefs that someone can heal you, your cancer, your organs, that is all cheating.
그걸 했지만은도 나중에 보니까 그냥
But
일종의 마술이야.
when you actually look at them, it's a sort of magic. You just put some blood in your hand, and because you're a tricky hand, they cannot actually see what is behind. But if you record it and if you look at it in a slow motion, then you will be able to see what are his tricks.
그러니까 뭐 안에 뭐 아물 지갑 이것도 배도 가르지도 않고 다 열었다고.
He claimed to have opened his stomach without even cutting it, but that is all fake. We even had that instance in Yasu. I think she was, what was her name? Hallelujah.
막 그냥 뱀 고친다고 막 배를 갖다가 손톱으로 갖다 끌고 가지고 피를 내 가지고 막.
She made the patient's stomach bleed by scratching with her fingernails in order to open, and
매도 걸린 사람을 갖다 이게 쓱쓱 손톱으로 끌고 가지고 다음 사람 또 끌고 놓고 다음 사람 또
and she even eventually spread sexual disease because there was a patient of hers who suffered from
이런 얘기는 이제 하나님께서 불칼을 내리셔서 이제 다 이제 곧 낫게 된다.
who suffered from syphilis, and because of her bleed, she touched other person's skin again, and that also spread the disease. That's a shamanism. That's actually worse than shamanism.
샤먼 시절에는 무당이 판을 치던 시절에는
During the time of shamanism, they actually there was no there was no medicine being discovered. That's why they actually tried to treat the patient through that kind of act.
그럼 여러분들도 혹시 병원에 가거들랑 병원 이제 의사 선생님이 수술을 해가지고 탁 낫거들랑.
So if you go to hospital and if the doctor perform surgery on you, and if your disease is cured, then you should say, thank you doctor for treating my disease, but you should not pray to Buddha. You should not pray to Buddha that he treated you. It is the blessing of the doctor, not Buddha. You have been blessed by the techniques of the doctor. It's not a blessing of Buddha. Buddha hasn't invented any new medicine. Buddha hasn't invented any new antibiotics. It is not Buddha's blessing.
전화 왔네. 전화 꺼. 안 되면 저 바깥에 수박에 물에다 담고 갈때 꺼내 가시고.
switch off the phone when it rings.
우리 노모살림들한테는 저게 저 뭐야 참으로 이게 그 다루기 힘든 거거든요.
For our old ladies, a phone is a difficult thing to handle. Like once
그런다고 왜 꺼지나? 손으로 눌러놔도
once there was a call, and she didn't know how to operate it in a hurry, so she just kept pressing it. But what's the use of pressing it? It still makes a lot of sound if you do not press the right button.
눈이 커서 그래. 눈이 작으면 눈이 조그만 이만한.
And also, your eyes hurt because your eyes are very weak. If your eyes are small, then there wouldn't be a need for your eyes to hurt. So that's the process of you changing. You are being changed. You are gradually changing, and also our existence, the thing called our existence is everything changes. Our youth slowly changes to old aging, and everything changes.
물을 들일까 어쩔까 그것도 변하죠, 그죠? 변해가는 거라. 아이고 내가 고등학교 때 사진을 보니까
I was so young when I look at myself during my high school pictures, but nowadays I look like I look very old. That is all the process of changing or aging. Everything goes through the process of changing.
변해가는 과정인데 가피라는 것은
But this thing called blessing is how do you change in a good way, or what is the better way of changing? That is blessing.
그죠? 그러니까 이제 내가 가만히
So if you just sit down and if you I sit down and I thought about it, but if you have been drinking for 40 years, then due to the condition of drinking for 40 years, you will be changed, right? So that will lead to failure of your kidneys, and also that causes a lot of side effects. So once I was going through this Yeosu industrial area, and there were so many barbed wires, and there were a lot of barbed wires that has been rusted, and that was rusting very fast due to all the chemical activities that's happening beside them during the nearby the industrial area, or else the rusting would not happen so fast, not so rapidly. So if you keep drinking, that is same then that is same like the barbed wires being rusted so fast nearby the industrial area. So if you have all the evil thoughts inside of you, then and if you keep changing to evil way, then a lot of more sufferings and a lot of more bad things will happen to you. But if you only have a virtuous thought inside of you, and if you only do virtuous deed, then you will be aging in a way that although your body ages furthermore, but you will be becoming a better person, or you will be becoming a more virtuous person. So this thing called blessing, since we are all changing, a blessing provides you a motive for a better change. So if you say you have been blessed by Buddha, then Buddha is giving you a motive for you to change in a virtuous way. If there's absence of it, then nothing actually will work out. So this thing called Buddhist asceticism practice is learning the method of change from your teacher, and even if you learn the method of change or method of practice from your teacher, if you do not try on your own, then you will not change.
변화하는데도 우리가 변화하는 데는요, 여러분
So even when you are changing,
현상에 관한 문제가 아니고
that is not about the
마음이
stature of the
원인이 되고 내
change,
마음이
but
원리가 돼.
also your heart becomes a motive for it.
그래서 우리 초발심장에 이런 말이 있단 말이야. 우음수하면 성유하고 사음수하면 성독이라 그래서 똑같은 물을
So there's also a saying, even the same water, if there's the same water and if a snake drinks it, that becomes a poison. And if a cow drinks it, that becomes milk. So there's no object for you to change. But when my heart changes, then object changes depending on your virtue.
변화하게 돼 있다. 그래서 이제 우리가 그렇습니다.
So we say,
집안에
if there's a puppy in a house that's very evil, then even the puppy becomes very evil. If there's a
강아지를 키우면 강아지도
puppy in a very calm or very naive house, very good house, then even if there is a thief coming, then the puppy will just look, where are you from?
그러니까
So if the parents are harsh, or if the parents are evil, then even the kids will become evil and harsh. But if it's the opposite, then it's the other way.
대부분 부모로
So kids are a reflection of your parents.
그러니까 여러분들께서 아침에 거울
So when you look into the mirror in the morning, stop looking at only yourself, only your outer appearance. What color lipstick should I apply? Or if I should put foundation or eyeliner, what color eyeliner? Stop thinking about those.
내 얼굴을 다른 사람이 바라볼 때 어떤
But
거울로서 바라볼 수 있을까?
think about it, like if others are looking at your face, then what kind of appearance or what kind of hurt will they be looking at? Think about those things, okay?
아시겠죠? 그래서 여러분이 아이고 어느 기도터에 가면 거기 기도빨이 참 받아서 아이고 그건 기도빨이 받으니까 아주 그 글로 가서 가피를 받으세요 하고 누가 그런 얘기 하거든. 가피는
So if someone says it's better to go somewhere and get blessings, do not fall for it.
예? 아 무당
It's not only those who believe in superstition say that, but also a lot of other people who go to proper Buddhist place say the same.
부처님은 충만해서 이 법계 두루해서 어디든지 계신다 그랬는데 하필이면 가서 어디 가서
We believe that Buddha's virtues are everywhere in this world. So what's the need of going to somewhere specific to do it? But you should be able to practice it wherever you are.
사장님께서 이렇게 신라 사람들에게 많은 이익을 끼친 곳이라 그래서 내가 거기서 한번
But instead of that, you can have some kind of feeling that, oh, this place is the place where Buddha has preached a lot of his disciples, and it might be it will be good for me to be able to go there and have some sort of this Buddhist or religious feelings out of yourself. That's fine, but you should not go there with a false idea. And also, it's impossible for someone who suffers from paralysis to stand up because the nervous system cannot be recovered yet. I'm not sure about the future, but it's not possible at the present. So that's what I think.
우리 아이가 고통을 덜 받았으면
I wish my
소아마비가
I wish my kids suffer less. So even if the paralyzed doesn't get cured, I hope he suffers from less suffering. That's fine, but
어디든지 찾아다니면서 저 소아마비가
please do not
이렇게 하면 어디를
please not go
가더라도
somewhere and pray for total cure of the paralysis. It's not possible.
그래서 여러분 이제
So
스승에게 가피를
if you have been blessed by your teacher, then there's something like you listen to that teacher and your heart changes and my behavior changes, and if it leads to good result, that is called blessing. It's very concrete.
딱 정리됐을 거란 말이야. 그럼 이제 뭐 영감쟁이가 좀 술 먹고 들어오더라도
Then even when your husband comes home after drinking, when I listen to Van Jinok, it's better if you do not drink, and if you drink and come, then maybe it's inevitable for you to drink and come, but instead of shouting at him, but you should feel sorry, or you should feel pity for him for his suffering after drinking. He's sitting in the bathroom and puking the next morning.
막 볼기짝을 한 대 때려 놓을 정도로
Then you feel very sorry for him. You even feel like kicking him in his butt. What do you think? Don't you feel sorry? If you hate him for his behavior, then your hurt
그래서 이제
your hurt hurts. So there's a saying: even if you can hate the crime, you should not hate the person. If you hate the person, then it causes more complications.
그러거든 말을 이렇게 하란 말이야.
So even if you get angry, just say it like that. It was difficult for you to drink, right? But how more difficult is it after you're drinking? But you should not make fun of him. Like, if he's already suffering, then if you are teasing him beside him, then he will drink more. So stop teasing him, stop making fun of him. But sincerely, you should feel for him.
그런데 한 달에 한 번만 먹어보래도 그것도 한 달에 한 번, 1년에 12번이 그 60평생을 같이 살았다 그러면
Okay, if he drinks only once a month, but it's like 12 times a year, but then if you live together with him for 60 years, then how many times is that?
그래서 여러분들께서 이제 그런 것도 볼 때 자비심으로 보면 저 잘못된 업을 행하면서
So when you're looking at him in all his behavior, if you look at him in the way out of compassion, then what causes his deeds and what happens afterwards, then if you're able to look at him from that way, then your behavior towards him will also change.
그렇게 생각은 어쩌나.
What do you think? Do you think the same? You just leave him, whether he drinks or not?
자, 그래도 책을 좀 나갑시다. 본문에서는 이에 일체질을 속기 성취하는 생각을 가지고 이것을 이루기 위한 원인과 조건을 갖추기
In this book, we should strive to achieve, and we should strive to understand omniscience. So we know that there is a cause and condition to become Buddha. So whatever there is in this world, everything has a cause and effect.
원인과 조건이 없이
There is no coincidence that does not happen due to with absence of cause and also conditions.
가다가 우연히 차가 사고 났다.
Some say
분석을 해보면
accidentally the car caused an accident or there was a fire, but there's nothing that was out of reason. And if there is accident or something like that, then then police do research, and they do research on the cause of the accident.
그래서 많은
And a lot of reasons arise. If it's because of drinking,
것을 가지고
and then they also put that into their policy making
이라든지 여러 가지 정책을 해서 술 먹고서 사고 낼 수
and
있는
reduce the cause for the accidents that could happen due to drink and driving.
하다 보면
But there are times when
불이 났는데 이게
when the
어디서
cause is not very
발악증이
concrete,
시작해서
there
불이
was a
못
fire,
때렸어.
but you don't know where
그러면 우리가
it started. Then
원인을 정확하게
that
분석해서
is
잘
not,
모를 뿐이지
but that
원인이
is not
없지
also
않다.
absence of a cause, but it's just that we are not very
그래서
clear
여러분이
about the
암이
cause.
걸렸다 그럴
So
때도
if you have a cancer, just
암이
in case you have a
걸렸다 그럴 때도
cancer,
그 원인을
it's
정확하게
difficult for us to
알기가
find
힘들어.
out the
그러나 원인이
accurate
있어.
cause of the cancer, but there is a
그래서 어떻게
cause.
하느냐면 담배를
So
피우면
if you
폐암이
smoke,
일어날 수
then
있는
the
확률이
chances
있어.
of your
그거는 이제
lung
역학적.
cancer increase.
담배를 피운 사람과 피우지 않은 사람의
So
비율을 가지고
they
따져보니까
do research
그
on
담배를
people
피운 사람의 20배 정도
who smoke, and
폐암이
they also
일어날
do
확률이
research on the
높다.
people who
이것은
does not
그렇게
smoke,
따져보는 거야.
and they also
그렇다고 해서
check the
담배를
percentage
피운다고 해서
between them or
담배
ratio between them. But
암이 걸리진
also
않아.
just because you drink or you smoke, it's not 100% sure that you will be catching or you'll be suffering from lung cancer. But it's just that there is a higher risk of it.
그래서 이게
So
불교에서는
in Buddhism, when you're
모든
looking
것을
at
막을
something,
때
everything
원인이 있어.
everything has a cause. There is a condition.
조건이 있어.
So if a patient is in a hospital or goes to hospital, then doctor asks, what could be the reason for this disease?
만약에 이 양반이 위장병이 잘 안 난다. 헬리코박터균이
If a
들어있는가?
person keeps suffers from stomach problem, then they do research, or they do inspection, or no, they do medical checkup on the helicobacter.
그러면 그것을 갖다가
And also,
원인
if the
제거를
cause
합니다.
is due to the helicobacters, then they also remove
원인
the
제거를 해서
they also
그
treat the
원인이
cause of the disease.
단 말이죠. 그와
It's
똑같아.
saying like that.
불교는 지금 과학적 내용과
Buddhism
사실은
is
똑같아.
same as the scientific reason.
그러니까 지금 이런
There
고통이
is suffering like this, but what is the reason for this suffering? What has caused the suffering?
라는 것을 갖다 명확하게
Is to know precise cause of this suffering.
지금 내가 이를테면 가난한
For example, if poverty is in front of me, if the reality is that if I am poor, then what is the reason for it? They started from hurt, but you should analyze what has caused this. That started from the sense of parsimony. You say words that is not very virtuous, and you also do not do a lot of good deeds, then others will not help you. And you can never become rich without others' help. If you are already rich, that's because others helped you. Others only helped you because you did not have this sense of parsimony while treating them, and you had good relation with them. So you should know how to realize that on your own. And we say something like this.
여러분, 퇴행성 관절염은 치료가 사실 안 돼. 왜냐? 무릎 관절뼈가 다 닳아져 버렸어. 닳아졌는데 우리가 이렇게 다니면서 닳아지면
You know this thing called degenerative arthritis
보충이 됐는데
that cannot be cured because the bones has already been worn out, or there's no more left, and they cannot grow back. Then what do you have to do? It's the aging that's the cause. You cannot do anything about aging. It cannot be cured because aging is the cause. Then what do? You lessen the conditions, or you help up the conditions. How? Since there are so many different conditions for the cause of the degenerative arthritis,
달아져서 그렇게 한데 이를테면 달아진 그 그것에 조건이
Since
하나
it's worn
더
out,
추가가 된단 말이야. 뭐가? 뚱땡이가.
there's additional cause. What is it? It's obesity. If you
뚱뚱해지면
are
이거
fat,
무게가
then
나가잖아. 그럼 10kg만 더 나가도
then you have to have more weight. Okay, even if just a 10 kgs increase, then what do? If you carry 10, if you put 10 kgs in your handbag and carry it around, then you cannot walk around at ease. Then what happens? Like same, if you are gained by 10 kgs, then what happens? Your body has to bear 10 kgs more. Then you have to change it to you have to start reducing weight.
네?
It's difficult to lose weight
그러니까 이제 늙으니까 또 이제 살이 말이요. 다리살은 빠져버리고 뱃살은 안
because
빠져.
you gain because of your age,
팔다리살은 다
they
빠지고 뱃살은
flesh
또 안
from
빠져.
your body, flesh from your leg and arms reduce, but your stomach grows.
이게 이제 안 돼요. 그래 먹는 걸 줄이자니.
And also, it's difficult to reduce the amount of eating. So this thing called aging.
원인이 늙음이기 때문에 그걸 늙음 자체를 갖다 젊음으로 바꿀 수가 없는 상황이란 말. 그러니까 조금만 이제 완화시켜주는 거.
Since you cannot change your aging to youth, so you just lessen the conditions. So when you're sitting down, you have to stretch out and.
그런데다가 또 무슨 뭐 물리치료 할 때 그냥 반은 또 저 무족탕 끓을 때 관절 끓을 꺾어 놓듯이 막 그 저 물리치료 할 때 그냥 막 이게 씌워 놓고.
And even while when you're doing a physical therapy, they do exercise on you, right? They make you do exercise, and you start crying.
그런다는 게 그게. 그러니 이게.
So even if you ease the conditions, if you do not remove the cause, then there cannot be a perfect treatment. Like this, there are things we cannot remove the cause. Like aging is a process of change, so we cannot do anything about it. So if you get old, you should start losing weight.
빠져서 나중에 그 늙어서 죽을 때쯤 되면 화장을 하면 그냥
So when you die and when you burn, it should be able to burn in 30 minutes. But nowadays there are so many delicious things, so it's difficult. So if you want to become rich, you should make cause and also you should make condition. Rich people does not come from parsimony, but you should also start giving out. Only 6 people answer, but even those 6 people cannot agree totally, and so they just say yes. Still, 1/3 of you do not answer. So many people yawning. Also,
이 머리에서 후한 생각이 나오고 남에게 베풀 생각이 나오고 그러면
if you have a sense of compassion and also generosity from your head, then even if you're doing a lip service, everything that comes out of your mouth is also good things. In olden times, when an infant comes, like when someone brings infant, they cannot say it's ugly, but instead they say, oh, he looks like he's a man who will become a great admirer. So since they cannot say it's ugly or she's ugly or he's ugly, we say the toe is very pretty. How can you even look at his or her toes when he or she is wearing a socks? So you should not say something like your eyes are too small, but instead you say there are so many things that you wish not to see in this world, but since your eyes are so small, it will be very beneficial for you. But will that cause anger in you? Also, some people have very big eyes and they look like cow.
눈에 끔찍끔찍 자빠져.
So it's very fortunate since your eyes are big, so you can see money well.
하여튼 이
So
생각을 좀
think generously and also talk generously and also act generously. So even when you make kimchi and you give it out to your neighbors,
좀 좋은 거 안 넣어도 괜찮다.
think that oh it's okay even if you do not use a good fish sauce for your house kimchi, but if you give to others, then put good fish sauce. But instead of that, for your own house you use very good fish sauce, and for others you do not use good fish sauce. But I think those people who come to Seokjeon Temple, they do not do that.
그리고 보면 저거 김치 담을 때나 이럴 때는 막
So when they make their kimchi, they put a lot of everything, but when they give to someone else, they do not do the same.
행동을 하는 것도 이게 행동이 좀
Even when you're acting, even the act should have generosity.
여러분 그 복권 당선되는 사람 있죠? 그 사람들 왜 당선되는 줄 알아요?
You know those people who win lottery,
전생에 그만 실수로 했건 말았건 듬뿍 줘버린 게 있어.
whether it's mistake or not, there is something that they have given generously.
어떻게 그냥 평생 하다가 어떻게 그냥 한번 듬뿍 줘버린 게 있어서 그래.
It's because of that, because of your generosity in the previous life.
전화 왔어. 듬뿍 줘버린 게
It's
있어.
because they have given generously in the previous life.
또 보리심이라는 것을
So even to become Buddha, you have the feeling of bodhisattva in you, and also through the six parameters, you should practice, and even to gain virtuous deed, you should think generously and you should do something for others. Then only you can gain virtue,
그렇지 않고서는
or else it's not possible.
영감쟁이가 하도 고함을 질러서 하니까 성질을 내서 하니까 마누라는
Because man keeps shouting,
아버지만 보면
wife gets her disease, and when the kids see that, they don't feel comfortable. Because he keeps arguing, or because he keeps getting angry, even the kids even his own kids, they try not to see him.
며느리 보고 아이고 아버님 좀 뵙고 오라 그러면 아이고 오늘 뭐 내가 갑자기 안 아프던 다리도 아프고 막 이상해.
They claim to suffer from first disease, and they claim to be very busy all of a sudden. If you keep shouting at someone, then that will happen to you.
우리 절집안에 다니는 분들이 이게 공부들을 갖다 잘 안 하고 바른 견해들이 없어가지고 이 절집안이 보면 그냥 무당푸닥거리하고 뭐 지금도 조계사 옆에는 그런 사람이 많대.
Even those who go to temples, they do not practice properly, but they believe in superstition. And I heard those people near Joge Temple, they still have a lot of like fortune readers.
아이고 불교는
And so a lot of people also think that's the limit of Buddhism, and they go to church.
얘들은 교회를 다니는 것들이 많다는 거야. 부모가 지혜스러우면 그렇게 되지 않지.
If your parents are wise, then kids will not turn that way. That's because the parents are not wise, and
우리 절에도 그런 사람들이 가끔 와.
even to our temple, some people come.
여러분 의견 좀 들어봅시다. 진옥 스님한테 와서 뭘
I want to gain some opinion.
문턱이 높아서 잘 겁이 나서 잘 못 온대. 그래?
They say they feel a little hesitant in coming to me in order to ask, because
스님한테 통바지를 한번
because I scold them. Oh, that's what I heard. Is it correct?
예?
You're very am I very difficult?
그래 우리 서시장이나 남산시장에 드나드는 사람한테 내가 뭘 좀 서비스를 할까 싶어. 그래서 내년이나 내후년부터는 걷다가 조그마한
I wanted to do something for those people who go to market in the west and the south, and so I thought of maybe building a service center there and go and work there for a day in a week. Do you think it's not going to work? Why? I wanted to be there and just give them a few consultations. Okay, if there's something very, very dark, then even I will feel very bad about it. But I was thinking that maybe I should do something like that. They say this place is a little too high and a little too difficult to come. If this is high, then I can just go down to somewhere low. Then there will be no statue of Buddha too, and those workers in markets throughout their life, they're very wise, but they have nowhere to go or nowhere to turn to at times of difficulty. And maybe I thought a day in a week, if I give them a little consultation, or if I cannot give them a consultation or just listen to their problems, I thought that would be helpful. So among so many different ideas, that idea, my voting system is 4452. I have a very strange voting system. Okay, so it's something like those who object raise their feet. Okay, since there's no one who is raising their feet, so everyone is agreeing to what I said. If you during your life, there's so many things that burdens your heart. And I thought if you just have a little consultation or a little speech here and there, then I thought this might help those. Okay, so you have to try to achieve both cause and condition in order to achieve. The same in our materialistic world. There is something I do not understand well from you. When your baby starts growing, then you should stop drinking and smoking when baby attains certain age, but it seems like you don't teach them properly. And if the baby keeps getting old and if the baby keeps having problems due to that, then you also own a lot of responsibility for not stopping them. This line refers
대상을 정교하게 분석해 나가는 논리적이고 이론적인 철학적인 작업이 아니라 수행의 과정과 방법을 담고 있는 수행 지침서라는.
This line refers that this book contains a very precise and elaborate description of methods of practice or methods of ascetic practice.
또 많은 책을 읽고 또 많은 얘기를 들었다 손 치더라도 그것이 수행하는데 도움이 안 되면 별 의미가 없어요.
Even if you read so many books on philosophy and so many books on so many things,
내 철학을
if it
갖다가
doesn't help you
생각한다고
in your
하더라도
practice, it's
그거
not very
보면서
useful
내 번뇌가 사라지고 내가 더 행복해질 수 있는 가능성은 없기
because
때문에
there's no chance of you losing your agony and also your burdens and become
소크라테스의
free.
철학을 읽었다고 하더라도
Even if you read
구체적으로
Socrates'
그게
lines,
내가 행복해질 수 있는 조건이 거기에
there is no
차이가 없어요.
specific condition on you
그걸
to
거기에서
become happy.
씌워지라는 거야. 그냥 머리로만 장난치는
That is just a
장난을
theory that can be played in your head.
불교의 그 부처님 말씀이나 조사스님들 말씀은 전적으로 이거는 수행서라는데 그게
Okay, there is meaning in scriptures and sayings of saints and Buddha in Buddhism because they are meant for your change. They are methods for your change. But if it's not realistic, or the lines or those sentences, if they're not realistic or if they're not true, then it causes a lot of problem. Like for example, if there's 1 + 1. It's actually 2, but because of lack of your prayer, if it becomes 10 instead of 2, it causes a lot of havoc and also a lot of problems. So 1 + 1 should always be 2.
그렇게 하면 그렇게 되게
But those people who practice prayer or who practice proper meditation or proper religious acts,
그게 불교는 지극히
then they
어려운
will
종교예요.
come to that realization. And also Buddhism is never a difficult religion.
알겠죠? 그래서 이제 그 얘기를 오늘 하고 그 뒤에 이제 제사가 있기
Okay.
때문에 여러분께서
Since we have
제사
this
지낼 때
ancestral rites day, we are going to end today.
좀 대단하니
And I hope you will be able to recite 천수경 together while we are doing this ancestral rites.
같이 이렇게 해주시는 게 좋습니다.
It's also good for the dead soul.
잔 올리고 참배를 안 해도
And also, you do not have to offer him anything.
우리 영가도 없는데 내가 불전 내면서 저러는 것이 부담스러운 분도 들어요.
I think there are also people who feel a little burdened because there is no dead soul that belongs to you, but you have to prostrate. You do not have to do that.
그 우리 저쪽에 이제
Okay, this pamphlet is about the nursing home which is in Soramyeon. We opened it recently and it started its operation.
시작을 해서 거기에 이제 국가하고 시에서 한 20억 이렇게 그
And also
시설을 아주
we got about
잘 해놨습니다 하고
$2 billion donation from the country, from national and city level, and it's very well done.
그 땅하고 토목공사하고 해서
We have done the
전체 한 27, 8억 들여서 아주
we
잘
have spent
해놨습니다.
about $2.8 billion and made the total
이제 모시고 이렇게
facility, and it's very well done. So we just have to start its operation, and I hope you will be able to actively get yourself involved in bringing those people, these poor or those ill people around you for nursing home.
뽑아놓고 사람이
Since if there are no people inside to operate, but only employees, then it might not work out properly. So I hope you bring yourself attention to this and try to help this.
65세
And
이상 되시는
it's
어르신
It's people who are about 65
1, 2, 3
and also the nursing level 1, 2, 3.
또 혹시 요양 등급을 안 받으신 분들은
And if
그
they do not,
사전에
if there are people who do not have this level,
받아서
then you can have a prior discussion and get the level and
치매가 이렇게
join the facility. And if you have Alzheimer, then it's difficult to have them at your home. Previously, when we had a big family,
식구가 여러 명이니까 이렇게
since there were a lot of people, it was okay for you to take care of them because there are so many people living in the house. But nowadays, the house is mostly empty due to people going out for work. So it's almost impossible to have them at their home alone.
그 치매가 오시면 대소변도 그냥 매일 그냥 그 하루에 몇 번씩 소변 같은 경우는 하루에 10번, 20번 싸는 경우도 있어요.
It's also difficult to take care of their bathroom problems, and if you try to take care of everything, then it's very difficult for you. Some people might feel that if you take them to a nursing home, it's not like just not taking any responsibility of your parents, but you can come very often. There are so many people who come very often, and since they are also specialists, it's also very helpful. There we give them very hot meal 3 times a day, and also depending on their conditions, we give them medications. And there are some people who feel it's difficult to stay at their home, but since we have a good facility, some people get less damage from the disease, and some even live longer. So I hope you will be able to spread out the word properly. Here is nursing hospital system. If it's nursing hospital system, then those people who are living inside may face difficulty because it's a hospital. But also, this nursing hospital, you have to pay more. Personally, you have to pay about $200 more. But this Soramen place near Pungu village, if you maybe you have seen this red building, that is the nursing home. It's very good.
나도 이제 저쪽 우리 하얀 연꽃하고 이렇게 전부 다 되는데 이제 거기에 80분 이제 사실 수 있게 돼 있어요.
The place is built for 80 people. So together with the White Lotus nursing home, I hope you have some interest in the place and try to check out people around you and try to invite people there. Also, this center in this the Pine Tree Center there, we are going to celebrate 5th year anniversary. They also say they're going to prepare a lot of delicious delicacies, but I'm not really sure. But they say they prepare a lot of things to eat. So also, even though the place is small,
장미는 배우잖아. 그래서 장미아 씨도 와서 잠불가도 부르고 노래도 부르고 그런답니다.
a singer is going to, Chang Mi-hwa, that singer is going to come and also participate in our religious prayer. And so I hope you will be able to come and participate well.